Hey everyone, it's part 2 of the Halibut Sweater. We are back with our first row of decreases. I actually think this is the only row of decreases, but it took me so long to get through one row. I think once I got to this point, I was averaging at like 15 minutes per row. So I say first row of decreases, it's the only row of decreases. It just feels like a long time. Today has been such a crazy day. I went to the next town over, like the big city, and it's a 15-minute drive, and it took me 5 hours to get home from the 15-minute drive. And I'm actually not exaggerating. I called my husband at 3:45, maybe 3:46, and I pulled into my driveway at 8:45. Like, it was literally 5 hours for what should have been 15 minutes. The tunnel leading out of town on the highway is closed down. So they're diverting the traffic through town, and so it's already been like pretty packed, super heavy traffic, but it started dumping snow, and so like semis were just crashing all over the place, and we had to wait for them to move the semis off of the road. And I think it must have like kept happening because we'd start crawling and going and going and going, and then we'd be at a dead stop again for another hour. It was so painful. It was such a long drive home, and it just like really made me appreciate like the little things in life that stress me out, because that was huge. So yeah, I'm super happy to be home and just doing a voiceover for a YouTube video and not crashed or stranded on the side of the road in a blizzard in March. I think that this is the final decrease for this row. I think there were 10 altogether. I don't remember. I just do what the pattern says. The other part that really sucked about getting stranded on the highway like that was that my car radio doesn't work. The auxiliary, the Bluetooth, the CD player, none of those things work. So it was mostly just silent for 5 hours. My husband would talk to me a little bit, but there's only so much. This is a little trick I found on Pinterest for setting aside sleeve stitches. I don't even know if I'm actually doing it right, but it works for me. You just do a little crochet in there, and it holds your stitches. Does anyone here have a love-hate relationship with a band? I really love the Beastie Boys, but I go through phases where I cannot listen to them. But then, like, also phases where they are the best band on the planet. It's an armhole. It's so exciting to see these parts come together like this. And then here I have to cast on. This is a cable cast on. I'm casting on however many stitches for the underarm. And then it's like a real sleeve. And it's so cool. Cable cast on is no joke for me. It was really hard. It was weird. It was really hard on this side, but then on the other side, I flew through it. I don't know why. Like, I'm sitting here dropping my yarn every single time. And then on the second sleeve, none of that. Had no problem with it. I don't know what happened. I almost hesitated. I did hesitate to put like that footage of that cable cast on in there, but I figured show you guys my real struggles as much as tolerable to watch for you, I suppose. Do you guys see my toe up there at the top of the screen? It's just hanging out. Let me know what you think about the music. I'm trying to play stuff that I don't absolutely hate, because I'm not really into the lo-fi hip-hop kind of stuff that seems to be so abundant. But I also don't want to like metal people's faces off when they're just wanting to hang out and watch a knit or crochet video. So I'm trying to find a balance. Let me know how I'm doing. Give me suggestions. If you guys want to hear lo-fi, there's a lot of it out there. I could do lo-fi if you really want to. When I did this crochet strategy, I made sure that the crochet hook was relatively the same millimeters as my knitting needle. That way I wasn't stretching out or tightening my stitches too much. See, this cable cast on, it's just really working for me this time. Maybe it was the way I was wrapping my yarn, but I feel like I tried both ways and it wasn't working. And then for some reason on this side it just worked and everything was fine. It kind of sucked after getting the sleeves, the underarms put together, because then it was just stockinette for like a week, and it's just one color. It's just a block of red that never ends. It took so long. I think I even cut it like an inch short. Like, I think I was shooting for like 8 or 9 inches, and I stopped at like 7.5, because at that point I was so eager and I was so done that I just decided it would be fine if it rode up on my kid's belly. He's gonna grow out of it anyway. When I'm going over these cast on stitches, I can't tell if that one is 1 or 2 stitches, and then I just decide that I don't care and I'll just let it be 2 stitches, and I never actually double checked. Like, I show myself counting, but I'm not actually sure. I can't tell what I'm counting. I can't tell what's cast on and what's not. Right there, I think I counted 8 stitches, and then I was just like, whatever, what's 2 extra stitches? Because I think the count was supposed to be 6. So I just decided, like, instead of make myself crazy over it, I'll just let there be 1 more stitch in the armpit. And then we are off for another year of stockinette. It is so tedious when it's just one color like this. If anyone wanted an update, the library gave Don Quixote back to me, but I just haven't had time to listen. It's really hard to focus when the kids are running around. But then, I don't know, I keep watching The Office instead of listening to books. It's a problem. Even though I'm periodically measuring, I don't know why, but I had a row count in mind. And as soon as my measurements started to be longer than that row count, I just threw all caution to the wind, and I was like, I'm not counting my rows. Not that I needed to in the first place. You're supposed to measure according to this pattern, but for some reason, having the row count and being able to be like, oh, now I'm at 5, now I'm at 10, felt like I was making more progress than measuring. But yeah, as soon as it started measuring longer than what my row count was telling me, I just got all excited and went with the measurements instead. It is so difficult to switch to smaller needles because your old needles get in the way and they're just flopping around and just everything's making a mess and in your way. And I only have cheap needles. I don't have interchangeable needles. So all of my cords are like 40 inches long, and so everything's just in my way all the time. Ribbing is my nemesis. I talked about it in the last video. I am just so slow at it. I hate it. This is supposed to be a stretchy bind off. And maybe I'm doing it wrong, but it did not stretch out very much. If anybody has like any tutorials for me to follow or like recommendations for tutorials for me to follow, you should let me know, because it like feels like it wants to be stretchy, but it was like so hard to get around my kid's like wrist, like his hand right there, because it just didn't stretch at all. At this angle, I'm sitting on my living room floor and I've got like a nursing pillow to rest my elbows on. I don't know if anyone else has started to see those ads for the pillows that they wrap around themselves. I didn't want to go out and buy one, so I just grabbed my old boppy pillow. This was such a pointless struggle, and I didn't even record the other sleeve to like show you guys, but instead of unraveling it from like right to left, had I just picked up all the stitches and then started the unravel on the left hand side, I could have just pulled it and it would have all just came out, because it's just a series of chain stitches. But yeah, doing it on the other end like that, I just made like so much pain for myself. It took me so long, and I was trying to save like the scrap yarn, and yeah, I wasted my own time with this, but I thought I'd show you my struggle anyway. And with the sleeves, I think I picked up 2 extra stitches on either side, so 4 altogether. I learned that from making socks. Like if you pick up these extra stitches in the corners and then knit them together, the hole isn't as big. So yeah, I picked up 4 altogether. I forgot to put a beginning of round stitch marker in, so that's why I'm slipping all of these stitches. The sleeves were awesome for me because they took half of the time that the body took after the fishes. Like that just solid red stockinette flew by on the sleeves compared to the main body. And the decreases start half an inch from the underarm, so you're already getting that decrease action. Oh, and here I switched to these bamboo needles that I have lying around because the cord is like 6 inches instead of 40 inches, so I wasn't having to do like magic loop, but I was having to pull that right hand needle like every so often, but it went by way faster than doing it with the 40-inch cables. I don't know if you can tell, but my cables and my stitch marker are stained pink. The needles themselves are also stained pink. I don't know why I didn't bother like putting that footage or recording it, but yeah, everything's stained pink after sitting in this yarn for so long. I unfortunately did have to switch to the longer cables for the ribbing because I just don't have the right sizes. But the ribbing still flew by pretty quick. I'd say I finished it in like an hour. But that's because of the teeny tiny little arm cuff. And there's barely a stitch count at that point. I know that my stitch count was off from one sleeve to the other because the first sleeve I had to end it on a knit instead of a purl, and then on my second sleeve it ended on a purl. So sleeve 1 has 2 knits in a row on the underside, and sleeve 2 is just normal and it goes in a 1-2 pattern. Whoops. Pink. It is totally stained pink. It's hard to see on camera, like even after blocking, the stuff that is stained pink looks white on camera even though it isn't. This is that same stretchy cast off or bind off, I don't know, but yep, this is it around the cuff. This part was so exciting because I've been working on this sweater for like 3 weeks, and this was it. This was the very end besides blocking, and I was trying so hard to go so fast but also do a good job. But yeah, 3 weeks of work and it's all coming down to this. I picked up my first stitch and went back into it. It just felt like there was such a big gap. I don't think it was necessary. I think that I could have woven in the end and kind of made up for it. But in the moment, I was just like, oh, that's a gap. I gotta fix that. And then that didn't feel right there. So then I just like knit another stitch through, and then it felt right. And that is the end of the knitting. I am so pleased. It feels so good to finish a big project like this. Here I am with my homemade laundry detergent. Guys, please don't come after me. I know that I'm like agitating the sweater by running water on it. I just wasn't thinking about it. The t-shirt in there is because I didn't have a color catcher. I read online that was supposed to replace it. I don't think it did that great of a job, but also it doesn't look like it bled on camera, just in person, but it already like looks like it's bleeding. I didn't catch it very well. It doesn't show up very well on camera, but yeah, you can see where it's pink right there. So it definitely caught some of the color. But I was surprised at how much this bled. User beware. I just blocked it on my kitchen table. I didn't even pin it down. I think it was fine. And that's it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the smaller needles. Like and subscribe. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you next time.